Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Thrift Shoppin' and this video is the first in an ongoing series that will help you get started in PSO2 New Genesis and then continue to provide tips and tricks as you progress through the stories and missions. While you are starting your adventures, I too will be starting a brand new character on a server where I own nothing and have no prior benefits. New Genesis is a free-to-play action combat open-world MMO with some of the best graphics of any video game so far. Based in a world we know little about, the story will take us through this planet we inhabit and discover what exactly is going on here. As you will travel, there will be many NPCs that will accompany you on your adventures. If you've enjoyed games like Monster Hunter World and the Dark Souls series, New Genesis combat is in your wheelhouse. Combat will require you to use multiple skills as well as dodge and guard actions in order to stay safe during battle. Performing multiple actions seamlessly and successfully in New Genesis is by far the most rewarding experience of any MMO I've ever played and really makes you connect with your character and class you play. Speaking of classes, there are currently 8 in New Genesis. You have melee classes like Hunter and Fighter, ranged classes like Ranger and Gunner, and magical classes like Force and Tector. There are also some newer classes that have weapons of varying playstyles. Braver uses katanas and bows, and Bouncers use soaring blades and jet boots. Each class has multiple weapons you can use, and each of them have unique playstyles, which means you have a lot of options when it comes to deciding what and how you want to play. So let's jump right into it and make a character and begin the journey into Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. Now, first things first, any resolution settings or screen settings you wish to make, such as full screen mode or borderless full screen, you must make those changes in this launcher prior to starting New Genesis. Now that we're into the game, the first decision you will need to make is what ship to play on. Ships are the servers in the game, and I'm going to recommend playing on Ship 2 or Ship 1. These are the two most populated servers, Ship 2 being the most populated. My main character is on Ship 2, and I would highly recommend joining this ship. But please, if you decide on picking Ship 3 or 4, just understand that the player base is very low, and you may find yourself unable to find players or alliances doing things at certain times. Once you select a ship, you can now begin character creation. Take some time on your character, but do not stress about it too much if you are uncertain about how you want your character to look. All fashion in this game is changeable through the in-game salon, so you can modify your player's look with the use of a salon pass. You can also change the colors of outfits using a color change pass. Fashion is incredible in this game, and it will be its own video later in the series. But in short, don't stress, no changes are permanent and everything can be modified at a later time. Next, you will decide on your starting class. You will be able to change your class once you get through the tutorial, so go ahead and just pick something that interests you for now. Bouncer and Braver are not available at this time since they were added later in the game. They will be available after the tutorial as well. Now you'll be going through the tutorial. New Genesis does a great job showcasing the controls for the game, so get some practice in here, get a feel for the class you picked, and we will address additional hotkey options after this tutorial. Once you're through the tutorial, our friend Manon is going to assist us to the first major city of the game, Central City. It's located in the Aelio region of this world. We will be introduced to Crawford, who is going to direct you through majority of the story quests. Our first quest is to get stronger by utilizing cocoons scattered throughout the region. These are essentially trials that will serve as an extension of the tutorial. teaching you advanced skills necessary to traverse the world and defeat enemies. There are a few more difficult versions of Cocoons, called Towers, and they are also located in the region as well. Completing the main task of these Cocoons will award 1 skill point, and completing the Towers will award 4 skill points. This is going to result in a total of 20 skill points available to you in this Aelio region. As you explore the world, if you find a Cocoon, go ahead and test yourself. These skill points will give you access to useful benefits for your classes. After that, you'll be directed to Central City's Ryuker device, which will allow you to teleport throughout the exploration areas of New Genesis. You can use Ryukers for a bunch of things, such as cooking food, accessing your storage, changing blocks to a more or less populated one, room transferring, and the keyword function. The room transfer function will allow you to set parameters for your search that includes searching for specific regions, vacancies, room creation time, or even searching for rooms with friends and alliance members only. We will be using the room transfer function later to find populated rooms for easier training. All right, guys, so April 6th had a really good update, and one of the benefits that we received from that update is that we now have beginner blocks that are suggested for beginners to use so that you can train a bit easier finding other people that are around your level to train with. So if you go to the block transfer system through the Ryuker device, you can see that up here there is this Aelio for Beginners block 1. So the use of this system is that you will be finding other players that will be training and leveling, hopefully in your same areas, so you don't have to go out of your way to try to find other players to play with. And finally, you will meet the class counter NPC and learn some class skills as well as change out your main class if you desire. You do need to be careful when using these class skills. Once you confirm your skill point usage, it is permanent and will require a skill reset pass for a new skill page to allocate skill points again. These skill reset passes cost AC, which is the microtransaction currency, or SG, which is another currency with microtransactions. The primary thing to focus on when using these skill points is if the skill will require a certain weapon or main class requirement. If any skill has either or both of these requirements, you must meet these requirements to be able to use that skill. As an example, I am a ranger, and the skill Blight Rounds Rifle requires me to both be a ranger main class and be using a rifle in order to be able to use this skill. And on the other hand, some skills will have 0 requirements. So double check all of these skills and make sure your weapon and main class choice is appropriate for the skill you are selecting. And if you have any concerns about skill tree builds, I will have a link down below to our community Discord. We have a channel specifically for class discussion, and you are more than welcome to ask others about skill point allocation for your desired class. And while I'm thinking about it, go ahead and open up your inventory. You can actually access your storage from anywhere for both depositing and withdrawing. You may have already looted some weapons that you might not be able to use right now due to your current class. But go ahead and put those in your storage just in case you decide to try out other classes. The nice thing about New Genesis is that all photon arts, which are your skills, they're unlocked at level 1, so try out any class with these level 1 weapons to get a feel for them. It's better to find a class and weapon that you like right now while you are leveling up and learning the game. After speaking with Crawford, you will be tasked to go and defeat Tames outside Central City. These are non-aggressive monsters that roam the world, and upon defeating them will provide meats. These meats are a resource used to cook food and will provide stat benefits for a period of time. Along with meats, there are vegetables, seafood, and fruits you can also acquire while roaming about, so don't forget to pick these items up as you find them. And while I'm on the topic of tames, if you look in your minimap in the upper left, you'll notice yellow circles and triangles. These are indicating what type of monster is nearby. Circles are the tames or non aggressive monsters, and triangles are aggressive monsters. You can utilize this information to more easily identify what monsters are near you. After that, you will go and cook some food for yourself. Let's go ahead and talk about this for a quick second. There are different types of ingredients and versions of that ingredient, and each of these will provide unique benefits for your character upon cooking. You can use a total of 10 ingredients for any recipe. There are different types of ingredients, that being meats, vegetables, fruits, and seafood, and each type of ingredient has its own separate version of that ingredient, those being robust, rich, crisp, and light. Now, meats provide potency, which is a statistic in the game that your attack power scales off of. In short, more potency means more damage, and this will always be an important statistic. Vegetables will provide damage resistance. Fruits will provide PP, which is the mana in New Genesis and is required to use photon arts. And seafood will provide additional percentage of health. And the versions of these foods will provide bonuses as long as 4 of the same version are used. Crisp foods will provide additional potency to weak points. Light foods will give additional PP recovery through normal attacks, weapon actions, or other skill effects. Robust provides additional HP recovery when using resistance or recovering HP through other means. And rich reduces PP consumption when casting skills. There are also ingredients that will be throughout the region during a seasonal event. They will be a new ingredient, but will share one of the above types and versions. You can also cook food from Ryukers, which is typically what you'll do instead of heading to the food stand, since Ryukers are everywhere and easier to access. Your next story quest is going to teach you how to enhance your gear. This is an important part of any MMO, being gear progression. For now, use the additional prim weapons given to you to enhance the prim weapon you have equipped and nothing more. Each enhancement costs Meseta, and soon you will be investing into a new weapon. So take the free upgrades for right now, but don't go overkill. Meseta is difficult to come by in the early game, and you need to utilize it to the best of your abilities. Once you're done enhancing, you will be introduced to your mag device and its uses. To access your mag device, you can go through the main menu or press Y on your keyboard. You can use the mag device to seek out specific resources while you're adventuring, and you can also enable and disable the display of the mag. And here you go, your first real test of the game. Crawford has you heading out to Mount Magnus to take care of some enemies. One thing to understand is that in story quests, your only goal is to survive. Any death will restart you from a previous checkpoint in the quest. You will typically have NPCs accompanying you that will also assist in damaging the enemies, so remember this. You don't have to do all of the damage. Use these story quests to learn how to utilize your class and weapon to keep safe. And once you're done defeating the enraged Noglyph, you will notice you are now in a combat sector. This is a specialized zone that allows up to 8 players to hunt that can drop exclusive gear and capsules. Plus, these sectors are the only locations that have a PSE gauge and PSE bursts, which are large influxes of monster spawns that will give you loads of EXP and drops. These are typically known as the training zones of New Genesis, so you will become accustomed to them. Before you leave Mount Magnus, grab the nearby Ryuker so you can teleport here whenever you'd like. It is located to the west of your current position. And upon completing this mission, and by returning to Crawford, you now have access to the personal shop, which is the player-to-player marketplace in New Genesis. We will be making use of the personal shop a little later to buy some cheap upgrades. This is also where you can sell any unwanted items to other players, but this will require a premium subscription or personal shop pass to sell. You can earn a 3-day shop pass monthly through the mission pass. Free-to-play players cannot sell, but can still buy off of the personal shop. Don't stress about having the inability to sell items on the personal shop right now. Most of the items you are acquiring currently are not desirable. I have an entire video discussing the pros and cons of premium passes and personal shop passes you can watch if you are curious. Link will be down below in the description. Alright, and now you have access to subclasses. This will make your character identity even more diverse, allowing you the ability to use multiple weapons for the ultimate build. You can select and change between these classes just like you would a main class. Any experience you earn as a subclass translates to main class experience, so you can use this subclass feature to level up other classes you are interested in on trying at a later time. However, your subclass only gets 50% of the experience that your main class earns. And now you can put skill points into that subclass's skill tree. Now, a quick reminder, since this is a subclass, any skills that have a main class requirement will not apply to you, so double check all skills you are planning on utilizing. I will suggest a few subclasses that can get you going no matter what main class you are playing. Hunter subclass is an option for more defensive-minded players. You can put points into Flash Guard for instant damage reduction, making you tankier. And you can also put 1 point into Hunter Physique for an active skill for damage reduction. Gunner is a good subclass for additional PP recovery options. You can put points into attack PP recovery so that you get more PP on normal attacks so you can cast more skills more often. And you can also put points into Overwhelm for even more PP recovery when attacking monsters that are not bosses. Fighter is a really good option for anybody that is offensive minded. You can put points into Defeat Advantage and Defeat PP Recovery for more damage while an enemy is knocked down, and also additional PP recovery while they are downed. Force is a really good option as a subclass for anybody who wants additional PP recovery. You can put skill points into PP conversion for a 30-second active skill that will increase your natural PP regeneration, plus 1 point into eradication PP gain that will give you a percentage of your max PP whenever you defeat an enemy. And an honorable mention for a subclass that would be really beneficial while leveling up is Braver. They have 2 skills that can be used as a subclass, the first one being Resta Effect Amplifier, which will give additional HP recovery on Restasyn use, and Breakfall HP Gain, which will give you HP recovery when you breakfall after a launch or knockback due to an enemy attack. A breakfall is simply pressing your jump hotkey when you are falling. I wouldn't recommend Braver as a subclass for late game, but it can serve really useful while you are going through these story quests. Additional health recovery is never something to discount during story quests. But once again, guys, once you use these points, you will need a reset pass to change them later on. So double check on if you plan on trying any of these classes out as a main class before you put points into skills that are useful for only subclass builds. Now you have 3 tasks that are going to show you 3 different things. One quest will direct you towards a region mag. These are devices that you can feed resources to, like the minerals and the food you collect on the ground, and it will give you a personal drop rate buff and help you fill the mag's all boost, which will give the entire server a buff. You can see that there is a wish list for the region mag, which means those items will get an additional boost to how many points they provide, as well as if the mag hasn't been fed recently, it will also have an empty stomach bonus. My suggestion is to feed any region mag 400 points and nothing more. Your resources are super valuable when you are just starting, so do not throw any more points into the mag. At 400 points, you will reach the max level personal buff and get 20% rare drop rate boost for 2 hours. You can check the time remaining on the region mag buff by going into your personal tab, which will show all active buffs. Additionally, you can hover over the region mag icon in the world map to display your remaining time on your personal buff. And as a side tip, you can hold the escape button on your keyboard to quickly open up the world map. This next quest is going to ask you to limit break a weapon. I won't go into much detail about this as it is not going to affect us much currently, but simply put, certain rarity gear has a max level it can reach naturally. 1-star gear can reach level 10, 2-star gear can reach level 20, and so on. However, you can limit break these items, and this will unlock the next 10 levels for that item. The current max level any item can reach is 50, and that will continue to increase as content is released. But for right now, limit break your weapon to complete the quest, and that's it. We will be upgrading to a 4-star weapon in the near future. And the last quest we have to do is to observe a PSE Burst. If you remember, while we were on Mount Magnus, combat sectors have a PSE gauge that will fill as we defeat enemies. So let's go back to Mount Magnus to complete this quest. And while we are here, let me explain a little bit about the PSE Burst system. Essentially, the goal is to reach 5 out of 5 levels on the PSE gauge. Any monster in the combat zone can increase or decrease the PSE gauge by 1. There are emergency tasks marked with an E on the map, and that group of monsters will have an increased chance of increasing the PSE gauge rather than decreasing. And lastly, you can only earn the 5th and final level of the PSE gauge by defeating a trial task marked with a T on the map. What this means is you will most likely find yourself bouncing between level 1 and level 4 of that PSE gauge until a trial task appears, in which case you and the other players in the room should immediately head to that trial task and defeat the enemies. This, more often than not, will trigger a PSE burst as long as your PSE gauge is at level 4 prior to defeating the trial. And you will see a beam of photonic energy around the area that is experiencing the PSE burst. Now, all you need to do is go and defeat all the monsters so you can get some really good EXP and really good loot. Afterwards, a PSE climax will occur, spawning a large boss that will also provide good EXP and loot. Don't stress if the PSE gauge keeps bouncing up and down. There is a pity system in place so that if there hasn't been a PSE burst in 5 minutes, the gauge will never drop and you will be guaranteed a PSE burst soon. I did tell you that this is good for EXP, but I forgot to mention something. You receive an EXP penalty if you are not within 4 levels of the monsters you are fighting. Since these monsters are level 5 and I am level 10, I am experiencing this penalty. So I should probably find somewhere else to train for now. New combat zones will unlock as you progress through the story quests. Speaking of story quests, let's go turn this one in. We did observe a PSE burst after all. Nice, I get to introduce you to Leah May. She will have a ton of repeatable quests you can do for EXP that range from gathering materials to combat. So let's go ahead and do her TAMES meet task, but definitely check with her before you head out to adventure. And guys, as I'm editing this, we just got an update yesterday in the game, April 6th, and there are actually weeklies tied to Leah May's quests. And I'm going to show you them really quick. You don't have access to weeklies quite yet. We will be getting to that in the video, but just for warning you guys, when I do get to that part of the video, there are new weeklies to complete Leah May's side tasks. To complete 15, you'll get 235k EXP. I don't know if that scales off of the account level or not, but you will be getting additional EXP for completing 15, as well as completing 30. So definitely be doing Leah May's side tasks as soon as possible, as many as you can. This will really help you with leveling. All right, back to the video. She may have a quest or two that lines up with the content you're about to do. And as an additional side note, don't forget to use your mag device to search for Tames meats or even another resource while you are out hunting for Tames. And here we go. After that cutscene, you have now unlocked daily and weekly tasks. Dailies will provide great EXP for very little time investment, and weeklies will provide 700,000 Meseta upon completing all of the missions. This is how you, as a free to play player, are going to afford most of your equipment funding. And now we need to get to 950 battle power to progress in the story quests. So in the next video, I will be discussing about all the ways you can boost your battle power for very little Meseta investment. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. It will help out a bunch, and I sincerely appreciate all the support you provide. Don't forget to join our community Discord and come hang out on Twitch as well. All links will be down below. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care, everybody.